Welcome to the Over the Hump Podcast, your gateway to the world of the iconic Brahman breed of cattle. At BRC Ranch, our passion for Brahman cattle runs deep. Join us as we delve into the heart of this extraordinary breed, unveiling its rich history, exploring industry trends, and sharing captivating stories that define the American Brahman. BRC Ranch stands as the pinnacle of Brahman excellence in America, boasting a decade-long legacy of champions and housing the finest Brahman bulls worldwide. It's not just about cattle, it's about a legacy that reverberates across ranches and hearts. Brought to you by BRC Ranch, where the Brahman legacy thrives and stories are woven into the very fabric of ranching. This is Over the Hump. And now your hosts, Brendan Cottrell, Rachel Cottrell, and Keaton Dodd.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Over the Hump. As you know, our BRC Night of Champions sale is just a few weeks away, and we thought we would share with you a detailed overview of what to expect in our sale and a special invitation to join us in Wharton County on the weekend of October 18th and 19th. So in this episode, you'll hear detailed descriptions of the sale offering from Keaton and Brandon, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's get over the hump. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Over the Hump Podcast. I'm today's host, Rachel Cottrell, and with me are Keaton Dodd, Director of Genetics at BRC Ranch, and Brandon Cottrell, the love of my life. I've said that every time.
Keep it up.
Of BRC Ranch. And in today's episode, since we're a couple of weeks away from our Night of Champions sale, we thought it would be cool to just give an overview of our big event coming up, and with our Stockman Summit, and then with our Night of Champions sale and our private treaty sales, and just kind of go through that, and also give everyone just an open invitation to come out to Bowling, Texas for a great weekend. We have our sale on Friday, October 18th, and then Heritage Cattle has their sale and some activities on Saturday, October 19th, and so we're located 10 or 15 minutes away from each other, and so you can come out to Wharton County and have a really good time. So for me, this is my favorite weekend of the year because for about 7 or 8 years now, we have started off with our Brahman Days workshop, which is now our Stockman Summit workshop, and then some type of sale event. And so this year is our first ever live auction for BRC Ranch, and we can't wait. So Keaton, maybe if you would start us off talking about the workshop, share with everybody kind of our thoughts on transitioning it from Brahman Days to Stockman Summit 2, because some people may be wondering why we changed the name.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people familiar with Brahman Days. It's something we've been doing since my involvement and even before I was involved in BRC. And I guess the true nature behind the kind of rebranding of Brahman Days to Stockman Summit was just to be, honestly, more inclusive of other breeds of cattle. And this is for seed stock-minded people that want to be better producers of beef cattle, whether that be Brahman, which would obviously be our primary basis, but any breed. And so we decided it was a neat name, was catchy. We thought, just get more people involved at the end of the day. And so we've got a great list of speakers. And so I just kind of, once again, want to formally invite everybody to the Stockman Summit Friday, October 18th at the Bowling Community Center right there, right outside of Bowling. So it's easy to find. You can plug it into your GPS and it'll take you right there. And we're going to kick off at 1 p.m. this year. So that is a change from the usual. We'll be starting after lunch. And so 1 p.m. Dr. Ryan Rathman from Texas Tech University. Many of y'all know Ryan Rathman is a livestock judge, livestock judging coach, but he's also a very intelligent beef cattle geneticist. And he's going to talk about production efficiency, selection for moderation of frame, things of that nature, and ultimately how that's going to help us be more profitable. We're going to move on into...
Well, I was going to interrupt you because we got with Dr. Rathman because Brandon heard this talk, actually, earlier this summer.
I did. Back in, what was it, July, I went over to Mississippi. Stacy Broadhead and his family, and then Dr. Mark Miller had invited me out to a field day that they were having back in my home state of Mississippi, and went over there, and it was a joint field day between the Brahman and the Red Angus breed, kind of highlighting the crosses and the different things. And it was fantastic not only to get back home and visit with all those people that I hadn't seen in so long, but just the the positivity surrounding the use of Brahman and crossbreeding programs. And
you love the talk.
The talk that he gave. There were several talks throughout the day. It started off with Marcus Shackelford, and I always love to hear his stories. But then Dr. Rathman got up there and just gave a not only very insightful talk, but just something that was very eye-opening. That was backed up by lots and lots of data. And so I was like, we've got to get this for our Stockman Summit. Mm-hmm. And luckily, when we contacted him, he jumped right on it. So I'm glad to. I
can't wait to hear this talk, but I also feel a little iffy about having someone from Texas Tech come to our program. I'm just going to be honest.
It's all right. Ryan is an Aggie. I don't,
because clearly A&M is the superior ag school in Texas. But
I share a similar sentiment. Dr. Rathman is an A&M grad, so we can trust at least most of what he says. Another person that is very near and dear to us, and someone we've had on the podcast before, one of my favorite young upcoming beef cattle geneticists that we get to talk to, AJ Knowles, and so always a good time when we get to listen to AJ talk about genetics because he's such an upper level thinker. But he does such a good job, I guess, at making things relatable to where the average person can kind of understand. And so we had him on a podcast. I thought he did it fantastic. So looking forward to that. Moving from him at 2:30, another big fan of Brahman, a big proponent of kind of making Brahman cattle better and more functional. Dr. Todd Thrift there from the University of Florida is going to talk about kind of some of the things that everybody needs to know getting into Brahman, the truths of Brahman, both positive and things that maybe need some improvement. So looking forward to that. And then we move into something we're very, very excited about this year and kind of a stalwart of our Brahman days, and it's good we're carrying him over into the Stockman Summit, Mr. Kerry Crow from Transova, and he's going to talk about the power of the F1 cow to kind of build on some of the things that we've talked about earlier in the day. And then we're going to wrap up. I'm going to kind of talk about blending some evaluation with some performance and kind of how that can make your cow herd just better in general, and so we'll talk about that at 4. Then we move on over to the ranch at 5, and that's kind of opening up cocktail hour, sale preview. This would be a good opportunity for folks to go ahead and look through the lots, look through their catalog, and kind of start making notes. We'll move on from there. We're going to have our Brahman steak dinner, I think roughly 6 o'clock. That's kind of when the steak dinner is going to be, and then we're going to kick off the sale there at 7. And so hopefully everybody we can start seeing kind of show up there at 5, but looking forward to it. And then we're going to cap off the night with the 80s cover band, the Jukebox Heroes, and so we're looking forward to just a kind of fun all-around night. I don't know anything.
Yeah. So I like the party part of it. And we've always had the party, but we are throwing in the sale this year. And when we were planning for the sale, our idea was let's have the band come on stage for a little while. I think that is the itinerary, that we'll have dinner. The band's going to come on for one set, let everybody kick back, have fun, and then stop and have the sale, and then the band will do their second set. And for the steak dinner, I'm just sharing, we are serving Brahman ribeyes and fillets from Brahman Country Beef. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It really is going to be an upscale event. It's definitely not going to be like your barbecue brisket type event. Nothing wrong with those. We love those. We've had those before. But this will be a nicer event. And if you're thinking about coming, anybody is welcome. Wear whatever you want. But if you also want to wear like a nice fall Western outfit and make it fun, go ahead. Dress to impress. Have a good time.
This is one of my favorite events of the year just because you get so many like-minded people together and having a good time where they can just kind of be themselves and
this band, you can look them up. The band they're going to play like Tom Petty, Stevie Nicks, 80s music. It's going to be great.
If you've had the opportunity the last few years to come to the nighttime parties, we've had some fantastic acts between dueling pianos, the Spasmatics, and it's just a really, really good time.
Yeah, so really, if you love Brahman cattle and you like having a good time, bring your family. Definitely family friendly. It's there at the ranch.
Complimentary to register. Yep. It's free of charge, and so
that's a great point. The workshop is free to attend. Yep. Of course, it's free to come to the sale and have dinner and just hang out with some Brahman friends.
Yeah, get to mingle, co-mingle, talk about Brahman cattle, and
we will have an ice sculpture.
The ice sculpture that's been popular. That has been very popular. That was probably our biggest night activity, is what to do with the ice sculpture when the sale is over, and I still don't know where it ended up last year.
It was still functioning the next morning. It was still around.
Was there.
Yeah. Well, Let's get into the sale. So our catalogs are out, and so the catalogs are on the website, brcranch.com. You might have already gotten one in the mail. So the offering is out there, and I think it would be cool just to kind of talk through the offering. When we were making this list a couple months ago, the cool thing is that even though there's 30-something lots, almost 40 lots, everything really boils down to like 5 cow families and then our genetics refresh section. So as you look through the catalog, you'll see it's all grouped by cow family. We had fun even just deciding where to place these in the catalog. So it's not like a ranking, but it sort of is a ranking. We had discussions of whose were the favorites. And so the winner of who got listed first in the catalog, as you'll see, is actually our 98 cow family Noble 103s, which have the huge notoriety right now with Margaret and 240 and Noble, of course, himself. So maybe Brandon, would you talk through that section for us? Kind of give us a rundown of what's in that section?
Absolutely. And I'll just start off by saying that when we started putting these lots in there, there's everything from semen and aspirations and upper end show type heifers, some superior potential donors, replacement females, some bulls, all that kind of stuff. But we wanted to really highlight our program, and we kind of took the handcuffs off and really put some of the best stuff in there, stuff that we would normally be keeping, and at least offered a part of it. This section right here that of the 98.
Let me interrupt you again. So as we go through, what you'll see in each section is that within the cow families, we usually have a highlighted semen lot from a top herd bull from that family, and then females, show heifers, bulls, and even some embryos and IVF options within every cow family that we're offering.
Yep.
Which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Just within this section here, we're going to be offering a straw of semen on Noble, and which, as everybody knows, that inventory is extremely limited.
65 units left. All.
That's it.
For sales around the world.
So
that's it.
We're gonna offer one of those up, and
for the USA.
For the USA,
right.
Whoever wants it, the high bidder gets it. But then also in this group, there's probably 2 of these heifers that could arguably be the best of the best heifers we've raised this year, that are full sisters to Margaret and 240, and there's some smokers in this group. And we'll be offering some half-interest in. Then we're going to be offering some half-interest bulls as well that would also be some full brothers to Margaret and Money Don't Jiggle 240 and stuff. And if you'll remember, over the last few years with those half-interest bulls that we're selling, a lot of those have gone on to not only be successful show bulls, but some of the highlighted AI sires that we've offered semen on that have turned out to be fantastic investments.
Those would be Boombox.
Yep.
240, 230. Who am I missing? I feel like I know I'm missing.
There was a Jumanji at
one
time.
And
Aggie.
Stockman.
Hey dude. Oh my gosh,
Hey Dude. I forget.
Yeah.
Went on to be national champion. So we're not holding anything back. You've got the chance to jump in on the good stuff.
So we have our lot. Well, lot 1 is the Noble semen.
Yep.
So that'll be really interesting. I think that would be great for a gray breeder or even a red breeder.
Sure.
There's the reds right now are so hot in the USA, and we've got a lot of new breeders in the reds that probably haven't had access to this before. So I think
raised international champion red female before, hasn't he? Maybe?
I don't want to say the name and get it wrong, but I know Dakota showed it.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful.
And I think the heifer from this year, red female from this year, was also of Casserais.
Maybe so.
Yeah, definitely could have been.
Yeah, and not to mention Margaret and 240.
Yeah.
So then lots 2 and 3 would be Sally O'Malley and Don't Look Ethel.
Don't Look Ethel.
You might see if you know those names. Sally O'Malley, Saturday Night Live skit, and Don't Look Ethel is keeping our tradition of, what's that guy's name?
Ray Stevens.
Ray Stevens
with
songs.
Me Again, Margaret.
So these would be full sibs to Margaret and 240.
But there's a lot of people that sell full sibs to a famous one here and there and all that kind of stuff. But these heifers, the real deal.
Right. This is Margaret 2.0. And we're offering the half interest. We should note that it's a half embryo interest. The possession will stay at BRC. And so if it's someone who wants a junior show heifer, that's something we would need to discuss,
previous to the sale.
Before the sale, discuss possession options,
There's some flexibility there, but definitely need to have a discussion about it.
Yeah. And then the next two, lots 4 and 5, would be moves like Jagger, Wells Fargo Wagon, 382, 383.
Yeah, both of those bulls are full brothers, and they look just alike.
These are Money Don't Jiggle 2.0.
They look a lot like Money Don't Jiggle.
Right,
Yes, and there's been one or two people that come by and say, I like these bulls maybe a little bit better than that bull when he was young, but it's been so long ago. They've all been good ones. That's been a fantastic mating.
And these are both half interest. Mm-hmm. And so when you talk about like full sibs selling half interest, a good example would be like Dutton and Boomtown. Those are full sibs. They're the exact same age, marketed differently, done differently. So for people who always want to partner with us on a herd bull, these are great opportunities. And maybe a little later on we could talk, or now, but typically if you are looking for a herd bull with us, we handle the marketing, we handle the management, and then you get half of the semen sales.
Yep.
And you also get to use the bull in your own herd as well. Yeah. And then you want to talk a little bit about lot 6 and 7?
We're offering a full interest replacement type female in the BRC Valerie Heifer 436. She's sired by Randall Tips bull and Razor 755. Well, Randall, he said, that Razor bull.
It's the best bull I ever raised.
Best bull I ever raised. But we used that bull on some cows last year and did an awesome job.
He did make some really good cows.
We bred him to several full sisters that were out of the 797 cow, and made some good little smokers that were heavy muscled and had some look to them. So really, really like that. And then the next heifer is another replacement female, which I'm really excited about because she's a polled scurred female out of our 98 cow family. And she's polled on both sides of her pedigree. Not only does she come from the 98 cow family, coming from the 562/7 cow, which was to date probably the highest performing polled scurred female that we've had in terms of weaning and yearling weight, and been a fantastic donor for us. But she's sired by the polled Maverick bull from England Cattle Company. And we've been so excited to not only when these calves were born and the quality of them, but the way they've grown. It's been outstanding. And we're really excited to be able to offer some of this stuff with our partnership with England's on the Maverick bull.
That cow passed away this year too, so that's the last opportunity to get a polled calf out of the 562 cow family. So that's the one and the only Maverick 562 in existence.
Yeah.
So if you like Margaret and if you like 240, this is a section to definitely spend some time at. So Keaton, let's move on to you, and it's fitting that you get the Janessa Lupita section.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
bloodline.
If we made the argument, my argument would have probably been to put them first. But it's pretty hard when you get to decide between a section like 98 and 103 and Janessa and Lupita. But I guess the semen lot needs no introduction. The 160/8 bull, which some could argue has been the strongest and most consistent herd sire across the entire breed over the past 3 to 5 years. And he's definitely been the most consistent in our camp. Semen's limited on that bull, and so that's why this is kind of a special opportunity to get to buy this for use in the United States. It hadn't just been a heavy producer, and we've used so much of it. Inventory's been pretty low, and so this would be one of your only opportunities to get 160 in the U.S. for a little while at least, and so take advantage of this chance. 2 older heifers, the 2 older heifers, and we'll have pregnancy status on one of these females available there as we get closer to the sale, but we're selling full interest in the Better Than Revenge 387 female. And if any of y'all remember her, she was a class winner at the national show last year. She's been towards the top end of her class at Houston, a lot of the open shows. And she's a boombox daughter out of the 835/7 Lupita cow. And so she would be half sib to the 160/8 bull, right, that we just talked about, but out of boombox. And so kind of a fresh pedigree and a heifer that's already been proven to be successful. And then we move down to the BRC Sriracha 328 female. That's the female we talked about. We'll have pregnancy status there closer to the sale day. She's been running with the bull, so assuming that she's somewhat short-bred in the 30 to 90 days, and we'll see, and we'll have that information available. But so that would actually be a 3/4 sibling to the BRC Sugar heifer that Case Botcha showed so successfully that she was basically unbeatable on the junior and the open show circuit at one point in time. And so this would be a 160 daughter out of the 392 female, which has been a very, very good donor cow for Miss Molly over the past few years. I think that's one of her strongest cows.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that picture of Sriracha that Carlos took earlier in the summer is amazing. And, when that picture came out, people from all over the world started asking, is she for sale? And that's honestly how kind of she got into this sale, is because we had intended to keep her, but she has a big following worldwide.
And she's good. Yeah. Double Janessa, too. I think her pedigree is interesting, what she brings to the table, being out of 160 and then going back to Janessa second time on the maternal side.
The 320, she's got so much muscle, but blends it so well into a feminine package. I remember when we were naming this heifer, she had a different name before Sriracha, and it was Rap Guy's Girlfriend, because kind of after
because baby got back.
Yeah, because
we reserved that name still.
Yeah,
we're still
because she had such a big butt and still does.
Nemi named her. Do you remember that? Nemesio, our great friend from Mexico. We were sitting there because she's related to Sugar. But we were like, Sugar is so sweet, and Sugar is such a frilly name. We need some Bam. And then he said Sriracha. It's like a Mexican pepper or something, right?
That's
hot sauce stuff.
Or something.
Some kind of hot sauce.
But she's sure enough donor prospect for somebody going forward. And we're going to sell full interest in that female too. And so interesting pedigree, I think a female that's got a lot of value. We move into the 459 BRC Pinch Me heifer, and that's one of the 2 polled scurred females in the sale, sired by Polled Maverick. I think the interesting thing about her, and she's the first and only of this mating that we've made thus far, she's out of the 694/7 cow that was reserved national champion, I believe, in 2013. And so here's an opportunity to buy a polled scurred female out of a young but proven sire, and then out of a donor female that was a reserve national champion. And so I think that's a unique opportunity. Move into a couple of heifers that we're pretty excited about. One is we're actually selling half interest in we're selling half interest in 902's calf. This year we got an embryo calf out of the 902/7 female. And so if you remember the heifer that the Walters family showed, it's been 2 years now, I think. What was her name? I don't know.
Soul Sister.
Yeah,
Soul
Soul
Sister.
Sister.
Yeah, and so she would have been she was reserve champion at Dallas under Brandon Callis. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff that she'd have done, but she was very, very successful for the Walters family. And then I accidentally skipped over one. We're actually selling a boombox. I can't believe I missed this one. She's a natural calf out of one of our really, really productive, really impressive young up-and-coming donors, Lupita Chica 60/9. And actually, that is a full sister to 160/8. Is that? No, there's 2. I was going to say that's the only full sister to 160 we have in production, but we do have 2 of them. But that's a female that we think a lot of. And for natural calf, she's going to end up being towards the top of the group of those marches in terms of weaning weight, bloom. She's a true kind of a performance female that's still got enough quality to be kind of a show donor.
She's one that probably hurts me as any to let go of, because that cow is one of my favorite cows, that 60/9 cow. Just in terms of overall functionality, utter quality, but mixing it with power and growth and just real world function. She's one of my favorites. And then you throw Boombox on top of that to get a fantastic heifer like this. She's one that's hard to kind of let go of.
So is this the last calf before you start flushing 60/9?
Yes.
Brandon's policy is what? How many
3
natural calves?
Yeah, 3 natural calves.
So we flushed her after this calf.
Yeah,
we will have embryos.
We've got calves coming already, because she's proved when she had this 3rd calf and I saw that it was good, we jumped right in on flushing her.
Yeah, that's awesome.
She's a good one. Like I said, she's a natural, and we pride ourselves on having some natural production in these cows. And so she's off a donor cow that calves every year, which is a testament just the function that female's got. We move on. BRC Shush. If you know Annie, that's a phrase that she likes to use a lot when she's tired of hearing you talk. And this 478 female is a captain out of an Elmo daughter. The 449 cow Annie's that's made some herd bulls. That'd be the mother of the Stockman bull. She's made a lot of, Providence Ezel had a nice heifer that she showed at the Junior Nationals that was second. That's a sib of this mating. Sold a lot of these cattle. They've been good. They're going to be good cows. They're going to make nice show heifers. And so that's a nice female we've got. And then we move into 2 bull options. So one of these would be the 322 bull. And this is actually a unique opportunity for someone looking for a herd sire. So this would be a half brother to the 160/8 bull that we've got out of the same cow, 835/7, but a little fresh twist on the top side. And so being out of a Parton sired bull, and if you've seen kind of the Johnny Brahman and the Smoke Show heifer, you see how good those Parton bulls have clicked on some of our power donors. I think this is a unique bull that has an outcross there kind of on the top side, then goes back to one of our tried and true donor cows. They're 835, lots of muscle, moderate, stout, a neat bull. Then we've got the 329 bull. And if you ever get asked a trivia question at Trivia Night, what's Randall Tipp's favorite song? It's Big Iron, and that's what this bull is named after. And so this is a 160 son, be a full brother to the Federale 331 bull that was calf champion at Houston. Also a full brother to the 328 bull that Jackson Crew's been showing that's been cleaning up here lately, and he's really, really nice. All three of those bulls were so good. We've been watching them grow. Excited. They're out of the 631 Cal Randall tips, and so there's two good options for some bulls to purchase there.
Those are full interest bulls.
Interest bulls, yep.
If we do have a lot of fellow seed stock Brahman breeders who are like, I need a good herd bull, like a real bull to breed in my pasture to my cows that I own, and here you go. And also with these, just reminding, we don't have any restrictions, so they're yours.
You can sell semen, do whatever you need to.
You can do whatever you want to with them, and
it's kind of one of those deals where it gets harder and harder to find time to go set up cows and AI cows, and so at this instance, you'd be turning out AI quality bulls,
right.
So your calf crop's not falling off, even though you maybe didn't get around AI, or you're trying to clean up after an AI session.
And those two bulls be ready to go too.
Yeah, they're breeding age, good.
They'd be ready to go. But the beauty of those bulls is, we showed them, and they were halter broke and stuff like that. But they've also, on the genetic side of it, the way we've brought them into with some outcross genetics on the top side on 322, and then the bottom side on 329, just bringing in the functional real world cow power on those. That we were just up at Parton's a few days ago, and those Doc Holliday 119/1 daughters
pretty
in production
udders
were fantastic, and that'd be the sire to 322. And then of course on the tip side of things with that Shannon cow 631, she
18 years old now.
18, not well by the.
She may be 19 years old.
Something, she's 18 or 19 either way, but that's a fantastic looking cow that's got a lot of longevity built into her and just keeps cranking out good ones for the tip family.
Yeah, I mean, at 19 years old, she'll take your breath away. She's still a gorgeous cow, and so there's good opportunity to get in on some bulls that I think can do a lot of good to pretty much any operation. And then we roll into two embryo lots that I'm really excited about. If you kind of follow along our program, we had two cows that were in our show string for a while that were kind of went back and forth. Were always very, very successful. We got the Sugar cow, her number 62, and y'all remember her. Case Botcha showed her. She was also the champion female in the open show at San Antonio. And then you remember the 75 female who was reserve calf champion as a baby at the International in Waco. Pretty much got a piece of her division almost everywhere she went. She was reserve grand in the open show at San Antonio. And so we flushed 62 to the 230 bull, Geronimo's Cadillac. We're excited about those. We've got some of those coming ourselves here this early spring, I would say. And then the 160s out of 75, I bet we've got 15 of those pregnancies coming in. We couldn't be more excited about two matings than those two. And so get in kind of fresh at the ground floor with stuff that we're putting in our own cows heavily.
Elevate your herd with the finest Brahman heifers from BRC Ranch. Perhaps you need to replace ranch heifers, or you're sourcing elite show heifers and donor prospects. BRC Ranch understands your passion for Brahmans. We feel the same. Building a strong foundation is essential for long-term success, and we invite you to see our exceptional Brahman heifers in person. Schedule a visit to our ranch by going online to brcatrer.com and selecting a suitable time slot. That's brcatrer.com.
So, a couple of questions on that. These are for USA.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of people who are asking to sell embryos in the USA. So you buy these, put them in your recips. You're going to have full sibs to our show string, basically, with
this
your brand in it. But on Eileen times 160, aren't they very closely related?
They are, and that was the plan.
Right.
And
whose plan was that? Yours?
I will gladly take credit, and if there's anything that almost makes me sore about this offering, it might be those embryos. Because I'm like, wait a second, I just saw
Eileen,
those. And I'm like, we're selling those? But for anyone that's followed our program forever, knows the 341/7 cow. Not only when they saw her in person, she was just a fantastic cow, but their production-wise, going down from her and her first natural calf of 835 Lupita, who's made so many great ones, and we've got quite a few daughters of 341 in the herd, but we lost that cow. And, of course, that type of animal I like in terms of breed character, I really love that. But when that cow died, we had 75, who was one of my favorite females that comes from that line. that has that same type, the same kind of head quality, hump quality, and the breed character that when that 341 cow died, I really wanted to concentrate those genetics. So it was very intentional when we did this mating to use the best 341 grandson back on one of the very best 341 daughters. Yes, it's very close in line breeding, but I really wanted to hammer in that overall quality and build something for future generations that I can come back with an outcross, but still have that stamp of power and breed character.
And that is a line bred mating. You talk about 160 and you talk about 341 obviously being 160's grandmother, but they are kind of outcross on the other side. So one of them sired by Noble, the other being sired by the old Gibson bull.
So that's completely
So you've got
unrelated.
really, really close mixed with kind of almost as far apart as you can, and we're excited about that.
Well, what would Mr. Marceau say? I bred them closer than that. And which we have, because I've flushed 160 right back to his
Don't
grandmother.
give away all your secrets.
And that's how we got Big Mama.
Right,
So.
yeah. Don't tell all your secrets. Okay, the next section is our Sweetie influence, which is one of Brandon's near and dear to his heart.
Make some good show cattle.
And so, yeah, Brandon, you want to talk through that? It's a smaller section, but I mean, arguably the quality here is
as strong as any section.
Strong, it's amazing. So
Absolutely.
this is a really exciting offering.
In that Sweetie set, no matter what bull you breed Sweetie to, she's going to give you the most upper level type show heifer that you
True
can
power
have.
donor cow.
Oh, yeah. No matter what she's mated to. But within this group, we're going to offer an IVF aspiration on BRC Lady Glitter Sparkle 115. You might note her as the year before last Houston Grand Champion female. And she was also named Brahman Champion of the World. She's in production right now here at the ranch. She's got a nice little bull calf at her side and doing a good job with it. And she calved the same day that she did last year. So she's right at 365, 366 day calving interval. So that's a super fantastic offering in terms of being able to jump in on some of the latest and the freshest and stuff in the show world.
And I think it's good to offer. Old school mentality might say, why would you ever offer a flush on last year's Houston champion female, or 2 years ago Houston champion female? But that's how you make the breed better, and give people the opportunity. And like Judd offered that flush in Elisa last year, who was a Houston champion, and now you've got Glitter, and it's exciting.
Yeah, you get
put it out there.
Yeah.
See how good we can make these things.
And then the next two lots, there's going to be BRC Sparks Fly 430 and then BRC Sweet Like Candy 426. Both of those are July-born heifers that are full sibs to Lady Glitter Sparkle. And so far, everyone that's seen them would say that they probably rival Glitter Sparkle in quality at that age. They're fantastic, and I really like those in terms of look and quality, but pigmentation and just that real killer look that they have.
Yeah, just personal bias. 430 might be my favorite heifer in the entire sale, and so sure enough,
you have loved her from
I
day
love that
one.
heifer.
She's a good one.
I think she's got everything that you'd find in Glitter with maybe a little bit of extra. So we're excited about both of those.
Yeah, and then wrapping up this section of the Sweeties, we've got the Razzle Dazzle 435 heifer. She's a November heifer that might be one of the most powerful ones we've raised. And we've made some powerful ones, but this one is sure enough powerful.
160 times Sweetie is, can you even get any more powerful?
I will tell you, that was a swing for the fence mating. And because, everybody knows we do a lot of experimentation in our breeding and stuff like that, and really try to focus a big portion of it on function and cow power. But Rachel always says you can breed what you want to and however you want it, as long as we win Houston every year.
As long as you have a chance. Yeah. As long as we have one that's in contention.
That she's saying that in public. But if we didn't, anyways. So every so often I do one of those swing for the fence matings. And we hit a home run on this one.
Yeah.
So that was, we're going to offer this one and be watching for Razzle Dazzle.
Maybe one of the more unique heifers that we've made.
She has got so much muscle, so much bone, and just a real cool one.
Yeah, she's a unique heifer, certainly a breeding piece. But I'm excited about the Sweetie section. I'm also very excited about this next section. So move on into kind of one of our younger cow families that's really starting to turn into one of our stronger cow families, and that'd be the 805/8 cow, Harley's favorite female that's ever been made, and I understand why. She is such a good cow when you talk about the basics of udder quality and function, but was good enough to be an international champion, could have been an international champion twice. That female is really, really good. And so excited. We actually have multiple matings out of her in this set. And so
I'm just picturing that picture of her in my head. I mean, that has got to be one of the best Brahman female pictures ever. In her udder, right before the national or the Houston show.
Phenomenal.
Remember that?
Right now, even now, she's still probably the
That's
most
true.
striking female
you
in the
put a
front
halter on her,
pasture.
you could win with her today as a 5 or 6 year old cow, whatever she is. But
And not to mention her high carcass. We always forget about that.
we do
but,
forget.
You know, we never talk about that, but she was also one. I mean, I think her at ultrasound would put her at the prime level.
Yeah, she
Remember
won her
that?
contemporary group. I know that. She was the top heifer in that
She
entire
was high,
calf crop.
but not only that, but big rib eyes. But I mean, so far since we've been talking about her, we've just talked about how pretty she is, how successful her shouldering was, how good her carcass is. But just on the cow side of things, on the production side, this cow does a fantastic job. She's a regular calver.
Good milk flow.
Good milker. Matter of fact, we've got her natural calf in this section as well from this year, and that she'll rival all the embryo calves.
Yeah,
just
she's as
in
big and
terms
as
of-
bloomy as the
Yeah.
embryo calves. But yeah, we got a few different matings on 805, like we talked about. Gorgeous cow, and there's a sure enough standout in this set too. Another one of those heifers that I think a guy could make the argument that she's the best in the entire bunch. And so we went ahead and flushed 805 to the 160 bull, and we got this pretty does 458 female, and she may be Brandon's favorite in the wholesale. I know a lot of people that have come through that pick her out as the very, very top heifer, and so she's a sure enough good one. We've got a full sister that we're going to sell all of, and so we're going to keep half of 458, but we're going to sell all of the 466 female. And I think a sleeper in the sale if you're trying to buy a replacement female to ultimately kind of develop into a donor cow. Sure enough, good female there in 466. Moving on, we're also selling the 479 female pump up jams, and this is the natural we talked about. And so Boombox was running on the donors last year. We sold the 60/9 natural sired by Boombox. We're going to go ahead and sell you a 805's natural calf sired by Boombox, and then we'll wrap up the live cattle in this section with another very strong female. We're going to sell you all of also, and that's the BRC Fine and Dandy 485 heifer, and she is sired by Captain. So she'd be a Captain out of 805. And we actually went to Steve Martin's, and they had bought a flush on 805 and made some Captains that we thought were so good. We copied that mating, and they've been very, very nice. And so we're also going to offer a couple of genetic packages in this, and so 2 embryo packages. One of these being an opportunity to get something fresh. And so we're going to sell you some embryos sired by Amos Moses, your reserve international champion, national champion bull of this past year. And so BRC 257 out of the 805/8 cow. And so that's as fresh and strong of a mating as we've got.
I've got a question on that. It just totally hit me. When do our Amos
That's-
Moses calves start hitting the ground?
I'm telling off on myself here because this is the first I've seen of the embryo offerings in this sale, and I'm like, guys, what are you doing? And because
you've been traveling a lot lately.
We
have had this for 2 months now.
These embryos, we just made these not too long ago. Matter of fact, when we're done with this podcast today is when we preg check them for the first time. So you're not giving us much of a
We
head
have about
start.
a 6 month head start.
Yeah. So
Here's your chance.
Yeah, I
The
normally
very freshest.
I don't mind
Math.
offering the good stuff, but I like getting at least a little bit of a head start.
Let's hear.
We got a baby head start.
Back to the list.
257s
Sorry.
out of 805. Modern. We've got
Very
kind
modern.
of the very freshest that we've got. And then we're also going to sell you. We always get people asking us, well, do y'all ever sell any sexed female embryos? And very rarely, just because we don't make very many sex female matings, honestly, because we see the same value in our bulls as we do our females. But we did make a selective mating there, and we reverse sorted Captain to the 805 cow. We're going to sell y'all a few embryos. So we're going to sell 3 of those as well. So 3 257s, Amos Moses out of 805, and 3 reverse sort female Captains out of the 805/8 cow.
You also said something that I liked, and maybe people may not get this, but you pointed out that Boombox was running with our donors, and that's
Yes.
why all these natural cows out of our donors are by Boombox. And that's just cool. I want to point that out too, because we're unlike other ranches where maybe we just keep our AI sires like up in a pen and pet on them every
we
day.
use all
like
of them.
all these bulls, I mean, right now running in the front pasture is 160 breeding cows and boombox. You know,
160's been out on the cows since March, since Houston.
Hey Dude was out on them before that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but Boombox just got pulled up about a week and a half ago, and he'd been running on cows for the last year and a half straight.
You're breeding that fertility.
That's right.
Or whatever.
But he's a bull to get it done.
He will, yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good to point out because you don't see that too much. You see a lot of embryo calves by these bulls, but not a lot of natural calves by these bulls. So
The next section is the 21 section. Arguably one of the very top cows in the whole breed with Boom Shakalaka. She has, I think the last time we figured it up, which has been back around Houston, and I think it might have changed and gone up since then, this cow has got 18 sons in purebred production around the world. She has produced a Houston champion female. That is a Houston Grand Champion female. She has produced a reserve Houston Grand Champion bull. She's produced a reserve national champion bull in Dutton, and then there was one other, and a national champion bull in Amos.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that Amos is her son because I don't know why I just keep forgetting that, but
and so many other good ones. Of those 18 sons in purebred production, just the quality of this cow stamps out. There's bulls like Dutton, Boombox, Boomtown, and Amos. You just keep going on down the list. And just going down the list, this cow will hammer out herd sires as good as any cow I've ever seen, and to most any mating we've ever seen, but not just on the bull side. She can make some females too.
Chacarita.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, forget about Chacarita, Big Dolores.
Big Dolores.
824/8. There's so many good ones, and we've got a ton of replacement females.
The breaker daughters in the barn, or maybe your best daughters she's made yet.
It pained me when designing this catalog to put her the fifth cow family section, but in her defense, she is the oldest, so we kind of put the newer stuff at the front, and worked our way. She is the oldest. She's old. She's not old, but she is getting old.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you had to ask, I would say the majority of the Brahman breeders in the world, who's the most famous Brahman cow of recent times, I think many would say Boom Shakalaka.
Yes.
Or you'd say, what's your ideal Brahman cow? And the picture flashes in your head of that iconic picture of her that, just...
Still the only two-time international champion female.
Correct. The only two-time Houston and one-time national champion female, Miss Brahman World. I mean... We're just sitting here starry-eyed thinking about how much we love 21, but we need to get going.
All right, Brandon, drop the bomb.
We're offering an IVF aspiration on the cow herself. 21/8. Boom Shakalaka.
Y'all heard that, right?
And
we took a note from Judd last year. Yep. When Judd offered the flush on Lisa, we were like, wow, that's big.
He's really stepping out and sharing his good stuff. We want to do it too.
And we believe in that too. And I mean, gosh, what would you do? How many people have sat around and dreamed in their head, what would I breed that cow to if I owned her?
And here's the thing. You could buy some noble semen out of this sale and make full sibs to Dutton. You could buy the 160 semen and make full sibs to Amos right there. And so, I mean...
If you're a red breeder and you want to try her in a red program, the sky's the limit
alert,
there.
She's done that once, and we've got some on the ground right now.
Yeah, they're really nice.
About.
But the other cool thing is, no matter what this cow has been mated to, she's made herd bulls. She's made show females. She has made upper end replacement type females and donors and things like that, no matter what bull. So if you're sitting on a young bull that needs to be proven up and want to get some notoriety behind, this is the one that you can say, hey, boom, I got a bunch of calves and they're out of this cow. And really, highlight your bull.
This flush, this aspiration could be bought by the USA, but it also could be bought by someone internationally. And honestly, I would really like to see what someone, if you had 21 and then you could breed her to any bull that was out there. Because historically, she's just been bred to bulls that we own or bulls that we could buy semen on. But there are some bulls out there that can you just imagine, like, if you flushed her to, I mean, I don't know,
Madison.
Madison, I'm just saying. I don't know that even is possible, but, you know, the international possibilities here, if someone, or say someone from Australia and wanted to take those genetics and do the flush with Australian qualified semen here, you could take these embryos worldwide and literally change the course of whatever country or even continent you're in.
Yeah. And when everybody knows when you're messing with Mother Nature, there's always some kind of up and down. But Boom Shakalaka has historically been a very, very strong producer as far as flush rates and making oocytes too. So that's a positive to kind of throw on pile of it.
Yeah, and on any of these, if you have any questions about their flushes, you know, talk to Keaton and Brandon. We'll definitely help you with any of that. All right, moving along.
So we're also offering a little piece of Dutton too. You know,
Sex.
this is the sex semen that we made on Dutton. So we'll be offering several units of semen on that.
2 units.
2 units of sexed female.
So as a reminder,
semen.
that as a reminder of a great female sired by Dutton would be.
I don't
Lady
know, maybe Lisa.
Lisa
Maybe
Manso.
Lisa.
I mean, Dutton, he is a female producer, and so, you know, he makes those females that are so beautiful, just
Garrett's made a
absolutely
whole pile
beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, I love them so much. We've probably got as many of those Dutton daughters back
That's
in my
right,
herd.
yeah.
At a lot
For
of
a
those,
young bull, we sure do have a bunch of Dutton daughters.
and a lot of those have been calving out with their first calf, and they're bred back and coming with their second ones. But just the udder quality and the fantastic replacements.
We
that they've
definitely
made.
want to point out for people that is sex semen.
Yeah, to make those females. Then we're also going to offer on the reigning national champion bull, BRC Amos Moses 257. I love this bull, and we've got a ton of calves coming by this bull in the spring. We bred him like crazy, and kind of got in a similar situation where we did with Captain when we first got Captain. I loved him so much, started breeding him. I was like, you get down the road and you're like, oh gosh, I bred almost everything to him. I hope it works. But
Well,
just
it will work because look at the predictability.
Of generation
21,
after generation
160.
after generation. And
That bull looks so good now. He really has
gets better
changed.
every day.
He's really when he was winning even as a national and somewhat at Houston, he still looked like a young man, a young boy. But he looks like a man now. I mean, he looks amazing.
He's pretty cool. I'm excited to get him back out and let as many people as possible see him.
He's a stud. And the funny thing about Amos is he's maybe the gentlest bull in the show barn, and he's the youngest bull in that group of bulls in the show barn. But he might be the most aggressive breeder, and he may have the most natural calves next year. He's a stud.
He has bred cows naturally, to Harley's dismay, because he's like, why do you keep doing this to me? You will bring those cows up to the barn and let them bulls naturally breed them.
So we have never offered Amos Moses semen, and domestically, right? And I mean, that's a bull we own 100% of, and so this is a really unique offering. And
we flush a cow to Amos every time we run him nowadays. So I mean, we're using him as heavy as anything.
Yeah, this is the sale feature for sure.
Yeah. But then, from Amos Moses, the next lot is going to be a half-interest heifer that's a full sister to him. Mm-hmm. And she's a cool one. She's a January-born heifer, sired by 160 and out of Boom Shakalaka. And she is a sure enough eye-catcher. And,
that's a half-interest one.
Yep. But she's got the power, and she's got the power of both sire and dam. But she puts it together in just such a nice package. But she'd be a half-interest female that could go on, not only make a show prospect, but also a future donor prospect that hits so many, checks so many boxes in terms of look, carcass, and performance and functionality.
Yeah, I'd say a contender, another one of those contenders for top heifer in the wholesale. Mm-hmm. A very, very good female.
That one's cool. When you have like a great bull like 257, I mean, I've said before, I prefer having a great bull. But you always think in the back of your mind, like, it would be really cool to have a sister to that one. And now we do. I mean, here she is. A
good one.
Yeah, a good one. So.
And then I just came to this part of the list where I see those embryos there. And I'm like, man, we're offering some good ones. But it's a Boom Shakalaka embryos, a package of 3 embryos with Geronimo's Cadillac 230. And 230 might be is probably my favorite bull in the show barn now.
He's up at your top of the list,
he's
too.
High, I'm
he's
high
on
your list.
I mean, I'm high on 230. And from a semen sales perspective, that's the bull that's been our number one seller of our Young Guns group worldwide, because people just really like that bull.
But the cool thing about that bull, he's been the last 2 years in a row kind of the anchor in the natural produce of dam for Lupita at Houston. She's won that last 2 years in a row.
Natural calf.
And he's the natural calf. And he's sired by Raider out of that cow. But from the time that bull was born, he had an acceptable birth weight, did everything right. His mama raised him like crazy. And then I'm like, I thought I was going to get shot when I was like, we're bringing this natural calf into the show barn. But everybody loved him, and he just continued to get better. First show out of the gate, he's calf champion at Houston.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I feel validated. But he's just gotten so much better ever since then. But this is one that'll sure enough breed a cow. You better watch out and not stand in his way, because he'll take you down in the process.
Also, I mean, he's in the show barn, but he's probably out of the show barn more than he's in the show barn, because you're always pulling him off and breeding some heifers or something. And we have a great partner that on 230. I mean, that makes it even more lovable. It makes him even more lovable because the Finleys are such good partners.
But I see that mating between 230 and 21 as being a good one, just because of the way they complement each other.
We put a pile of those in once again too. So, well, I guess this is kind of the last section, and we struggled to kind of come up with a name. Genetic refresh, return to kind of ranching. Those are two of the thoughts that we've had on what we would call this section. But this is kind of our experiment station, our outcross section. Some of the things that we're pulling from outside breeders, mixing kind of with some of our stuff and going to use ourselves going forward. And so we're going to give the opportunity for 3 half-interest bulls, 3 bulls that Brandon is very apprehensive to let any portion of go. And I'll tell you why. A, they're good. B, we're going to use them heavily. And C, you could breed all 3 of these bulls to pretty much any cow in North America and be safe.
Or South America.
Or South, exactly. South Central.
Or Australia.
Asia. These bulls are very, very good. The first one being the 298 bull, and then the 303 bull. Those are half brothers. Okay, and so they're both sired by the Parton 584/1 King Garrett bull. So if you haven't seen the calves that we've had out of King Garrett, like the Johnny Brahman bull, like the Smoke Show female, like the Gussied Up female that have been so successful. But that bull is 100% a no throwaways type sire. And so I think we've yet to steer a 584 calf, and we've either sold them for good money or kept them as replacements.
We've sold 2 584 daughters that we've had and kept every other one.
For an average of $35,000 for half.
And so it's, even keeping those for replacements, it was hard to justify if you're getting those good prices. So I let 2 of them go.
So truly a true maternal sire, and then we bring you 2 outcross cows, one being Elmo daughter, so not complete outcross, but still somewhat of an outcross cow there. The Pearl cow of Annie's, the 449 female. And then the other one is a cow that we actually recently lost this year too, unfortunately, but the 806/7 female. And she is straight Sam Duplantis, outcross breeding, unrelated to pretty much anything anybody other than Mr. Sam would probably have. And so both of those bulls are very, 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 very good. And we wrap up with one that we're maybe as excited about as anything, is the 317 Super Stockman bull. And it takes a heck of a bull to get a name like Super Stockman. I mean, you better be pretty ranchy little bull.
He's going to have the pocket note cards in his pocket. Yes. If he were
he drives a flatbed, for sure. Super Stockman does. And so that bull's out of the Stockman bull, hence his name. And then one of our very favorite young donor cows, well, actually we haven't flushed her yet, but she's going into the program. And she is Brandon's maternal merit cow, the 978 female. And if you've ever heard him talk about his Noah's Ark female, if the world was covered in water, this cow's coming with Brandon. And so you get to buy a direct son, the first son we've ever sold out of the 978 cow, I believe. And she's a good one.
If you'll also notice when you're studying the pedigrees on all 3 of these bulls, all 3 of them, you'll notice both sides of their pedigrees. You know, a lot of people count up register renowns. I want you to go through these pedigrees and count up the maternal merits in these. And so...
Sorry, I could not contain myself.
You just go right
Sorry,
ahead.
I couldn't
I'm going to
stop
sit
my
here and
laughter.
be making good ones. Y'all keep reading your register announced. But these bulls I'm excited about just because of the return to ranching, return to function, all that kind of stuff that's so popular right now. throughout the beef industry, not just in Brahman. It's everywhere.
What we mean by that, I mean, I think this is why if you notice, we're only selling half of these bulls because we think there's so much potential in these bulls because a lot of people are in the boat where their pedigrees are getting tight. Maybe they need a shot of maternal, all those things we've talked about before. They need to get back the longevity. They need to, get some of these things, but they don't want to lose the quality, the visual quality. Like you said, the world is the limit here for where these bulls could be used.
Just take like the 298 bull there, sired by King Garrett, 584. And then his mother, yes, she's an Elmo daughter, but if you look at her pedigree, she goes back to Bayou Oaks and Sugarland all through the bottom. So that's an extra different twist on that. Mm-hmm. And then the 303 bull, being sired by Parton King Garrett, 584 over 1 bull, is out of a cow that we have branded 806 over 7. But that bull right there, 303, is unrelated to every single animal we own except 2 full sisters that we have. Mm-hmm. And I say every unrelated because his mother did die this year. She was hit by lightning. But that cow came pregnant inside of a maternal merit cow from Mr. Sam Duplantis. But several generations deep, both sides of the pedigree, maternal merit, it's punched in there. And both of those bulls, 298 and 303, as yearlings, their testicle size was anywhere from 35 to 36 centimeters at 12 months. And so
you just loved working that in, didn't you?
I did. And our focus on fertility, not only do they have some circumference to them, they've got some bulge and they've got some symmetry to them. I see these as having some fantastic daughters, but they're coming from cows that milk heavily and have fantastic udders, and to do it year after year after year on a consistent basis. And then, like Keaton was saying, the Super Stockman 317 bull out of my Noah's Ark cow, everybody else said, what's that mean? I was like, well, if we're in a situation where you got to get on the ark and you got to pick 1 bull and 1 cow, that's my cow. She does everything right, great udder, no problems. We're going to start over with her.
So these
you would put her over Margaret?
Margaret wasn't alive when we started that statement. But these 3 problem solver type bulls, really. I mean, that's kind of the way I see it. Bring things back to center, make these cattle do what they're supposed to do first, and then they still have some phenotype. So that's the fun part about these 3 bulls is I think you can fix feet, fix udder, fix calving intervals, but still make cattle that have a strong phenotype and quality.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Y'all are very excited about this section. If you can't tell, they're very, very excited about this.
It's been a multiple year project to make these bulls for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was great. And hopefully if you've been listening along, you can kind of flip through the catalog and stuff. Let's kind of just maybe think of some wrap up things. So the cattle are all at our ranch. Y'all are welcome to come out anytime and look at the offering. We would love to show y'all the offering. Of course, the sale will be on Cattle in Motion, so we'll have videos up there in the catalog. And if you can't come to the ranch in Bowling, you can bid online. The sale will be at 7 o'clock, and we're hoping it'll be over by 8 so people can get to bed early on Friday night. What else am I missing?
No, I mean, DV Auctions, you said that. Everything.
Cattle in Motion. We actually switched.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Cattle in Motion.
Cattle in Motion.
And then Steve Bonham Auctioneering, which we're very excited about. I don't know if I just gave away a secret or not.
No.
But I think that's really, really exciting for Brahman folks.
We've been working hard on this for several months, and we're ready, and we would just love for y'all to come and be with us, have a good time, bring a friend. It'll be great.
I tell you, I gotta, if you show up to the show, to the sale and the event that night, don't expect not to see me have my chest poked out. One, because I know we're going to be having a fantastic event, but also the quality of the cattle that we're stepping out and offering that we've never done anything like that before.
Well, when we were making the decision to have a live auction, we love live auctions. We've had our customer appreciation sale, but we ourselves, BRC, have never had a live auction. And so we wanted to really make it great. I mean, I would say this is one of the most highest quality Brahman offerings in a while,
yeah, I think,
and with that, I know that Judd the next day is going to have a great offering too, so in 2 days you can get access to some of the world's best Brahman genetics and have a great time and be with fun people.
Yeah, tried to make it the premier event in Brahman, premier Brahman weekend, that kind of deal. And so come to Wharton County and some of the best Brahman cattle in the world will get exchanged.
Yeah.
And even stop by the Brahman Museum while you're here.
Yes, come to the Brahman Museum. It'll be
Eat you a
open
Brahman
Friday
steak.
and Saturday. Brahman steak. But we're just here to help. And if y'all have any questions, you need anything, I mean, we are expecting people coming all over the world. So if you need any help or questions, we're here. We're phone call away, text away.
You know, we've said we're offering our very best and some good ones and all that stuff. Come on down. I'll show you. You know,
right. That's not an empty phrase.
Yeah.
That's a good point. A lot of people are like, "Oh, this is the best thing we've
Everybody
ever
says
offered."
that. No, come on, I'll show you.
Yeah.
If there's not something for you in this sale, then maybe I don't know if Brahman's for you.
There is something for everybody, and there's show heifer prospects, semen,
replacements,
embryos. You can make your own with your own brand on it. Replacement cattle, breeding herd bulls, semen interest herd bulls. We expect there to be a variety of price points, from different price points. And then we should mention we will have some private treaties afterwards, right? How many are we expecting to have?
15-ish heifers maybe on the high end, probably.
Yeah, and then some more replacement. That could be another 20 or so.
Those are typically priced at like $5,000 and up. Now, I will say, a question we get a lot is, are these halter broke? So some of these are halter broke.
Not all of them.
Not all, but some are halter broke. The private treaty, none are halter broke. They're all just out in the pasture.
That'd be a reach out and contact one of us kind of questions. I know most of the half-interest heifers have spent some time in the show barn, and so they're at least broke to tie. But yeah, just call us and ask, and we'd love to visit with you guys about kind of everything in the sale.
But no matter what sector that you like to focus on in your Brahman program, we can hit, whether it's strictly show ring, whether it's more on the just regular ranching replacement type side, whether it's the growth and performance traits, whether it's carcass. We've got it all in this sale for you that you can plug yourself into wherever you want to be and try to be at the very top. And so we are glad to offer it, proud to offer it. We want to see our customers excel as much as they possibly can.
Yep. So we'll hope to see everybody October 18th for the BRC sale, October 19th for the Heritage Sale, Wharton County, the place to be.
Come check them out.
Thank y'all for listening to Over the Hump.
You've been listening to the Over the Hump podcast. Our passion is Brahman cattle, and it runs deep. And this show is about its rich history, industry trends, and stories that define the American Brahman. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram and Facebook at BR Contraire. See you next time on the Over the Hump podcast.